Hey, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Michelle and I have a practice called Grave Intentions. It's in its sixth generation. However, I'm the generation that actually gave it a name and took it out of the basement. And so I thought I would jump on today and talk a little bit about lineage and what it means to you and what it might not be what you expect it to be or to be in general. We talk about the importance of knowing our heritage and our lineage for medical reasons. What are we prone to develop? If we know in our family line that there's been a history of skin cancer, we know to be extra diligent when we're in the sun, to wear sunscreen, to take extra vitamin D, to stay away from tanning beds, right? But what about the spiritual epigenetics? What about our spiritual inherited DNA? That's where ancestry and lineage really pays off for those of us that have omnistic or polytheistic belief systems. I'm going to start tripping on my tongue early today. I've been talking for the last couple of hours to clients, but that's also why I wanted to jump on, is to talk about this ancestry thing. I kind of wanted to go through the 6 generations of women who, well, the 5 generations that came before me, and the 7th generation, which is my daughters, who are apprentices. If you go to our website, the Meet the Team page actually has everything on there. I try to be as transparent as possible with all of my people on who I am, where I come from, where the work comes from, where it originated from, and why we do what we do. And it is bloodline based in my case, but not for everybody. Everybody kind of has their different energetic sourcing when it comes to magic and astrology and divination. And my energetic sourcing definitely comes from the 5 women on my maternal side that came before me. So let me introduce you to them. So, me being the 6th in this generation of women that we were able to trace, you have to remember there probably could be 7, 8, 9, 10 generations of maternal practitioners. But my aunt, who was amazing when I was younger, she did all of our genealogy, all of our historical archiving for our family, and she was able to prove back the 6 generations. That and my grandma Sosha had all the journals with all the compound recipes that went back 6 generations. Well, 4 generations for her. I get crazy with the numbers sometimes, but there's my mom, of course, Linda. Now, my mom was a prophetess. She could see auras unwillingly. She did make the choice to not engage in the practice, and that was her choice to make. Sometimes when we have gifts that are difficult to manage or to align with our day-to-day functionality, it can be difficult to embrace those as gifts. And so my mother did make the choice when I was young to allow me to kind of absorb my place and her place, which I'm fine with. Then there's my grandma Sosha, my mom's mom. She is probably, the biggest part of the energetic equation for me. I spent a lot of time with her growing up. My children spent a lot of time with her growing up. She is the anchor of our family. She has since passed, and she's just such a beautiful soul. This is a woman who could literally grow tobacco and coffee in a potted plant in a window in the city, in a dirty, grimy porch. She had roses that grew that they were the size of dinner plates. She had pussy willows grow in dry terrain, with no kind of mud or creekside, sourcing. She was just amazing. She taught me a lot about divination, a lot about compounding. This woman would sit and chain smoke and read Harlequin romance novels while watching wrestling. She was just amazing. Then there was my great grandma Bailey. I do have a book coming out, and I kind of talk about the stories, the rememories with these women. And great grandma Bailey was a little bit scary. She had a house in the North Woods with like no plumbing and no electricity for a while, and it was a very feral environment filled with smoke and strange people and odd things. But she also was very amazing, taught me a lot when I was very young, initiated me when I was very young, 9, and that's all in the book too. It's going to be coming out soon. I'm so excited. But then there is my great-great-grandma, Elizabeth. Of course, she passed before I was born. I have lots of stories. I have seen her journals. She was the one that actually ended up doing a lot of our organ puppetry recipes because because she actually had the means to have a farm with farm animals and waste not, right? So a lot of the organ puppetry that we do stems from her practice that she built upon from her mother, which I'll get into in a minute. But she also was involved in the Moonshine Wars, the Bailey Moonshine Wars. So she was actually the generation that relocated from Kentucky up to Wisconsin, which is a really kind of interesting offshoot with great great grandma Elizabeth. And then there's her mother, great 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 grandma Sir Linda. I reference her as Aunt Coon on the website because that was her name back then. People would travel far and wide to my great 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 grandmother Sir Linda because she was like the puppetress. Now, of course, she used vegetation, eggplants, tomatoes, potatoes, stuff for fertility, for love, for revenge. Like, she was the puppetress. And so a lot of our puppetry compounds, also come from Sir Linda's journals. But I thought I would just give you a glimpse of what my family tree looks like. The women that make up my practice, obviously me and my daughters are alive, but Grandma Sosha, Great Grandma Bailey, Great Great Grandma Elizabeth, and Great 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 Grandma Sir Linda have passed, but they're still here. Their presence is still here in the practice today, and I still use their compounds today. But yeah, I just thought I would jump on and share that because I do think it's important that we research our family trees. Like I said, I have an aunt who went back and did our entire historical thing. When my grandma Sosha died, I inherited all of the journals, so those are mine. But Madison, who's 7th gen, an apprentice, my daughter, I remember her being in middle school, like in 7th grade, and the girls were in 4-H, and one of her 4-H county fair projects was that genealogy project that my aunt worked on with her, and she won a bunch of awards. I don't remember what they were. They were like the big, I don't know if you guys remember back in 4-H county fair days, they were like these big frilly like award ribbons they would put on your displays, and she had a huge family tree display with all kinds of data. So that was cool. We have that in storage somewhere, I'm sure still. But I think that, again, back to the beginning of this video, the importance of us understanding our history, our genetic, contracts, our ancestral contracts is there's so many. It's not just health. It's not just, are you prone to vision problems? It is our epigenetics. It's called epigenetics, our inherited DNA, our inherited trauma, our inherited energetic sourcing, our karmic debt. Sometimes in life we pay down karmic debt of our ancestors. What did they do? What were they known for? It's important to know these things, especially if you are polytheistic, omnistic, if you have a spiritual practice, if you are a divinator or a caster. You need to know what energy you're pulling from, because not all energetic sources are wells of high frequency. Some are wells of low frequency. And if you are pulling on a well of low frequency, you're going to be running into karmic debt accruals that aren't going to be pleasant, karmic feedback kicks or feedback loops that are not going to be pleasant. Having that awareness and understanding that spiritual inherited DNA, that spiritual ancestry, you can actually get in front of that. There's things you can do to pay down that karmic debt. There are things you can do to kind of reroute those feedbacks, those loops, those kickbacks that occur when there is low frequency in that well. So study up. If you are in the world practicing, especially as a third-party practitioner, study up, know that lineage, and use it to benefit you and the people that you bless. Other than that, stay magical.